Highway Haunting Shadows. David was a seasoned truck driver, well acquainted with the lonesome stretches of highway that stretched out before him like an endless ribbon of asphalt. He maneuvered his massive rig through the night, his headlights cutting through the inky darkness. The highway seemed devoid of life, except for the monotonous hum of his engine. That was until an inexplicable and bone-chilling sight unfolded. A ghastly, pallid face materialized on the window of his truck's cab. Its hollow eyes bore into him, and the temperature inside the cab seemed to plummet. David's grip on the steering wheel tightened, his knuckles white with fear. He knew these roads could play tricks on a tired mind, but this was different, something unnatural. Determined to stay on course, he tried to ignore the malevolent presence, his heart pounding in his chest. Suddenly, the tranquility of the night was shattered as a car approached from the opposite direction. In a horrifying twist of fate, the ghostly face detached itself from David's window and leaped onto the oncoming vehicle, a passenger in a car on a collision course with destiny. The other vehicle swerved wildly, headlights piercing the abyss, before crashing into a gnarled tree with a deafening crunch. David's breath caught in his throat as he turned back to the window. The ghostly visage had returned, its eerie grin intact. It seemed to mouth words, but they were lost to the howling wind outside. A sense of dread settled over him as he realized he was trapped in a nightmarish cycle. The same mangled car that had just crashed reappeared on the highway before him, its shattered windows reflecting the moonlight in a sinister dance. On the third eerie repetition of the crash, the mangled car appeared once more, seemingly heading directly toward David's truck. Panic seized him as he swerved to avoid the impending collision, his heart pounding like a sledgehammer in his chest. But just as terror threatened to consume him entirely, a sudden blaring horn pierced the night. David's eyes widened as he glanced to his left and saw another oncoming truck, its horn deafening in the stillness of the night. With lightning-quick reflexes, he veered back into his lane just in the nick of time, narrowly avoiding a disastrous collision. The spell was broken. As the two trucks passed each other, David could see the startled expression of the other truck driver through the windshield. Their eyes met briefly, a shared moment of incredulity and relief. It was as if the honking of the horn had shattered the nightmarish loop that had ensnared him, releasing him from the malevolent grip of the highway's haunting curse. With trembling hands, David guided his truck down the now eerily quiet highway, the face on the window and the mangled car nowhere in sight. The darkness seemed less foreboding, and the weight of the enigmatic nightmare slowly lifted. Though he couldn't explain what had just transpired, he knew he had narrowly escaped a fate that defied comprehension. As he continued his journey down the desolate highway, he couldn't help but wonder if the other truck driver had experienced a similar brush with the inexplicable, or if it had been a chance encounter that had saved him from an eternal night of terror.